So Greg, good to see you once again. It's been a while actually since I've seen you after you departed from the tour with that horrific injury, but you've gone under second surgery. And how's the rehab going now? How are you feeling?
Yeah, well, it's been a tough year for me. I had this injury coming during the US Open, and one piece of bone and cartilage was broken in my knee. So what happened, I did the first surgery, but the surgeon did quite a heavy surgery by trying to take out that piece that was broken and to refill the hole with some cartilage, but it didn't really heal properly.
Yeah.
And it was probably like not the right choice to do. So then after that I did the rehab, but I was still feeling too much pain in the knee.
Yeah.
So that's why, then I decided to go to Paris, to the Clinic of Sport.
Yeah.
And met like one of the best surgeons in France, and yeah, they all told me that they probably shouldn't have done that kind of surgery at first, and should have just taken out that little piece and leave the bone the way it was.
Yeah.
To let maybe the cartilage grow back, and heal by itself. And so what happened is one piece of the cartilage that he actually inserted in my bone, was like touching the joint. So he actually shaved that piece that was not healed to make like the joint like quite clean when you actually move around. And after that, I was on crutches again for 2 months. So it's been only a month and a half, 2 months that now I'm on my feet again. I can walk, which is amazing.
I've seen you walk with a limp before, and you've managed to beat the best player in the world at the time, but we won't go into that. It might have been in New York.
Maybe I limp. I limp every day,
But you must have been doing. You can't have just been training for a month. You must have been doing some other exercise.
Yeah, of course,
because you're looking very, very trim and fit.
Yeah, I'm. I take care of what I eat. I'm really careful of this detail, because I don't want to look like Laurent, for example, and be like, and then start playing squash again. So now I have to really pay attention to details. When you don't actually play squash anymore, the diet is very important. Also to try to heal, as well as possible. So I was really careful with that. Then I did a lot of physio work. I was lucky to have a great team with me every single day, doing like maybe 2 to 3 hours a day.
Yeah.
With my physio. Then I was back with my fitness coach. Like starting from all over again. To learn how to walk. Learn how to go up and down the stairs. Move sideways. It's ridiculous how
basic it becomes.
Simple things that you learn when you're a kid become so difficult. It's crazy.
But in terms of other exercise, because this is what always fascinates me, growing up with my dad, and and being told myself, when you injure some part of your body, you can always train other areas. So you obviously on crutches, but I remember there's one picture of my dad when he had a knee operation, when he had a cartilage operation. He was on this kind of makeshift kind of rowing canoe to train the. You must have been doing something.
So for example, when I was on crutches, I was doing upper body work. I can't stay lay down on the bed and wait, for something to happen. So I need to, get my mind clear by being occupied and do something, So I was still training, in some ways, not the training I would love to, but do something else to get your mind, to think about something else and not think about the negativity of what happened, and try to stay busy, and with the hope of being able to play again. So
And you are coming back, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm doing my best, to come back. Of course, the knee is still not great yet. So I've been back on court this week, but doing just simple things, not moving too much. just to see, you know, how I can
How
feel.
have you found hitting the ball since you had another ball?
The ball, you know, it was such a pleasure, you know, to hit the ball, you know, like this doesn't change, you know, it's no big deal, you know, I can still hit the ball correctly, you know, even if I didn't touch it for 6 months.
Yeah.
And it hasn't changed at all, you know. I can hit better drops than you still.
Yeah, I mean,
But you never hit drops before, so.
This is very true. This is very true. But well, that's great.
But it was this week was a bit up and down. At the beginning was okay, but then I felt little pinches, you know, here and there. So I think I have to really manage my training, like not to overdo, you know, because my knee and my leg hasn't worked for so long.
Yeah.
So when you put so much work into it in an area that hasn't been used for so long, of course it, you know, you get some inflammation and it can react.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of weights to gain some muscle mass back, you know, and try to reinforce my knee with all my muscle around that I actually lost by being on crutches, you know, because.
Have you got any photos of the atrophy of, you know, when the muscle is atrophy, when it disappears of your leg? Did you take any photos?
Yeah, I have some, you know. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. It would be unreal because obviously you're working back to get the joke physique, which is very important.
Physique's been always there. But no, it's. You have to start from scratch. That's it, you know, and you have to accept it. So it was tough at the beginning, but you know, once I'm back in the gym, you know, then I'm thinking, okay, I do this, I do it for a reason, because I want it so much, you know. I want to be back playing, you know. It's my desire. Nobody has the right to tell me you have to stop or whatever. It's my choice to want to play, you know. I never wanted to quit last year or whatever. I was still at a level of playing decent squash, even if I was playing half of the year, because I had a couple of injuries since I was number one in 2017. And where I had this amazing year, after that I had like illness and injuries in my adductor. I torn my adductor in a tournament of champion. I had the injury in my ankle. But you know, of course, it comes with the age and it comes with all the years I've been training, playing so many matches. So yeah, I totally understand that, but I still want to play. So I think, you know,
that's fantastic.
If the knee goes right, I mean, it will never be new again. You know? No. But if I get that little chance to do it,
you're gonna have a go.
I will take it, you know.
Because will you be 37 this December coming?
Yeah.
Brilliant. It's awesome.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean
much.
No. To me, I'm still fresh, you know.
Yeah. No, you are. You look very fresh. I mean, being at home, you always look good. You know, there's times actually when you don't, but I won't tell you about those. But yeah, no, just you've obviously been watching SQUASHTV. You've been watching the tour. That has to have been slightly mental torture for you at times, seeing that, because obviously the level you were playing at, being the oldest ever world number one, all those monumental matches through what I call the golden era, and you know, your rivals of Ramy and Nick Matthew and Shabana and all these great players, you know, it just goes back and back. What do you think about the level at the moment?
Well, as you say, you know, with all these guys left like Shabana, Nick, Ramy and myself this year, I think there's it's a little different, you know. Of course, you can't replace those guys, you know. It felt weird, you know, at first to see Shabana leaving, you know, to me, because I was quite close to him and we used to play quite a lot together, train also. And this year, Nick and Ramy, it feels a little empty, you know, I would say, and this is what I feel. So of course, you've got some young guys coming up, like Fares coming back, which is good, I think, you know, with the injury he had, he came back pretty strong, and I always thought he would be a great player. There is also the other Egyptian, sorry, you know, I wasn't on the tour for so long, I missed all the names.
Well, there's a lot of Egyptians.
There's
I need to help. I should know, seeing as I've been commentating on them.
Can you show me the names?
We'll get that. But I mean, obviously you've got
Abu Elgar, sorry.
Abu Elgar,
Abu Elgar was on the way up, but I don't know if I saw that he had like a shoulder injury like this month.
Yeah.
Hopefully not too bad for him.
Yeah.
But you've got those guys coming up, which is nice to see, you know.
What about the non-Egyptians that are kind of trying to get
yeah,
up
you've
there?
got Diego too, you know, who did a pretty good season, and now winning the Pan Am Games was pretty big for him too, you know, beating.
I think he's still celebrating.
Yeah, I think so. I speak to him quite a bit, and yeah, he's still on on the celebrating missions. He needs to go back, you know.
Peruvian Puma, I think he needs the discipline of. I think he needs you in his corner at some point to give a bit of discipline.
Anytime he needs, you know, he's my friend. And you've got, of course, you've got Paul Cole, you know. So
and Joel Makin.
Joel Makin, you know, this is two different type of players, you know, very strong, you know, very fit guys, you know. So yeah, you've got different type of players on the tour, which is nice. But yeah, as I said, having all those guys left, you know, the tour is, I don't think it's the same, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And how's your support system been? Because I think this is, as a sportsman, you know, when you're at the top of the game, everybody's your friend.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's giving you, you know, nice job, champ, wanting to hang out with you, joke photos, and all the rest of it. I mean, do you realise, you know, there's people that are very close to you that are the genuine people? I mean, have you had a few
you actually see, this is where you actually see who are.
Thank you.
Oh,
sorry.
Thank you, man.
Okay. Go on.
You actually see who are really like your close friends, you know. But I get, to be honest, I get a lot of texts, you know, through either Facebook or either Instagram, a lot of support from people, of course, that I don't know, which is amazing, you know. I have to admit that, you know. And I'm really thankful for all the messages people send, because it's it really touched me, you know. Touched my heart, and it's and on top of the people who are still supporting me, like my close friend and sponsors, you know, who keep, you know, helping me and wants me to
come back.
All they want is to see me play.
Yeah, no, well, it's the same.
They support me. They want to see me play.
Yeah, that's the same with all of us.
They want me to be happy, you know, and it will make them happy.
Yeah, for you to be happy is probably quite tough, though. We know that.
Yeah.
And from a viewer's point of view, obviously, with what you've achieved, I mean, just going back to we've been contacted, obviously, loads through SQUASHTV and people writing in about how you've been missed and stuff. And have you got any idea what was your target tournament? I mean, I know it's very early days, but you must have set a little bit of a target tournament for when you were coming back.
Yeah. Well, at the beginning, after my first surgery, my target was to play the British Open in May, but I got the other surgery in May. So then my target, maybe it would have been nice to play either by the end of the year, maybe World Teams, or starting with TOC.
Yeah.
Or then maybe later, I don't know, but I don't want to go back on the tour if I'm like 30% of my capacities. I want to go back where I can be maybe 70-80% with a really decent level, and I don't start you know, losing to someone I really shouldn't, you know, lose, you know, for my confidence, for my I will take the time it needs.
Yeah.
I want to be able to run with my kids. I want to
chase them and you know, attack them and stuff. You know, in a very very friendly way, obviously. But
I want to be able to. I don't know if I organize things in squash. You know, able to play with kids, able to play with people. You know, even after my career. You know.
Surely there'll be some TV. You'd be interested in some TV.
TV. Play with Laurent again. We have a match to do again. I smashed you in Grasshopper, and you too, Nathan. So now it's your chance, huh? Take it now, because in a couple of days, no more chance, because you can't return my serve, you know.
No, well, I might try and challenge you as well. I haven't played for a couple of years, but it could be my chance to finally, as long as you don't drill me with the ball. But going back to that first surgery, you know, when you've had this thing and you've gone under the knife, because was that the first ever surgery you'd ever had?
Yeah.
So that was your first surgery, and it failed.
Yeah.
I mean, mentally, honestly.
So here, if you want, guys, I show you my phone. Here is what happened.
Yeah, this would be good. Make sure that make sure you get the right pictures up, Greg.
So here is what happened. We did an arthro scanner, and here And here is the little piece of cartilage that was bothering me and touching the joints. Here.
Can I see it? Oh, God, yeah, you can see, yeah, good.
Here. That's after the first surgery. This piece here.
It's massive. It's actually a very big piece.
So the second surgery, the guy shaved that. Okay. And what happened when I played at the US Open? I will show you right here. Here I played the US Open, and you can see my bone was broken here.
So
and I played 3 matches like this. And here you can see the bone, the piece of bone or cartilage which is totally broken.
So that was just by repetitive impact, was it?
I felt like a sharp pain playing like my first round against Chris Simpson, and a little bit, and in that evening, just standing up of a chair, felt like a knife.
Yeah.
And after that, the whole week, I never had any experience with knees, I thought it was just an inflammation or whatever, and then I could barely walk, I could barely go up the stairs, I remember I had to take the elevator to go up to Drexel and not
not the stairs.
Not the stairs, not to show. I didn't want to show any players that I was injured or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
And then I don't know. I could barely warm up because it was every time I was like, it was
crazy.
And then with the adrenaline, I don't know. I go on the court and.
It's unbelievable what adrenaline can do, though.
And then I woke up the court and I can't walk anymore. Yeah. So. Maybe it was a mistake to play through this kind of injury. I didn't even know what I had.
You don't know. How do you know?
I have no idea. I've been playing through like so many pain in my career,
sure.
And it's unbelievable how the mental can change and make you play through pain.
Yeah, of course.
And especially for us as professional athletes, we are
warriors, though. It's the warrior spirit, isn't it?
We can do things that
normal people can't do.
Yeah.
And you're not normal.
In the effort, during the effort, so.
Yeah. Just going back to that first surgery, so you go under the knife, first surgery, and then you do your rehab. Like you're rehabbing for 3 months. You're on your mission to get back, and then you realise that it's been failed. I mean, at that very point, you've had the surgery, which is a nightmare. You've done the rehab, and then suddenly it's not working. I mean, what was going through your mind then? Was it literally like this?
I have to be patient. That's it.
Yeah.
Of course, mentally, it's hard, because
it's not one of your main strengths, is it? Patience.
No, it's not, because but you have to be. That's it. You can't run anymore. So you have to.
So what else did you do? Just mentally, what else did you do to try and clear the demons a bit? There must have been something.
But I was busy all day between physio. Every morning I was with physio. Afternoon I was in the gym. So then I was most of the time with my family. Yeah. So actually, when people ask me what did you do, I was working as much as when I was training. Because I was like 5 to 6 hours a day.
Yeah, but this is what's so important. I feel for the, there's certain characters. Nick Matthews the same as you. Like when he's had dreadful injuries in the past, and he's always come back stronger.
Yeah, he had his shoulder for 8 months. I remember.
And this is for me the real key with the very great players is when they have these horrendous injuries. They make sure that they are right back up to where they should be, working on other weaknesses in their physicality or whatever it may be, mental or technique, and coming back stronger. Yeah. And that's the real test of the great players for me. Having experienced that with my father, who had so many surgeries. Yeah. So you're of the same ilk, and for the viewers, it's just nice for them to hear, because a lot of people, let's think we're talking about the amateur and the people that like to watch squash. They get injured and they sit on the sofa, without being too rude, eating obviously crisps and donuts and so-called resting, not rehabbing. They realise that the rehab is not just a massage or one treatment with a physio once a week. Yeah. Obviously you're at a situation where it's your job, so you've got access to the best physios and you're doing it. But you hit the nail on the head for me there. It's like you're doing as much work now as you were when you've been healthy training.
Same time. Yeah. Same amount of time. Also, you have to realize that your body is your main tool of work. If you haven't got your legs or your arm or whatever, you're gonna work. So this is my job, and You know, all I want is to be healthy.
Yeah.
So you would do anything to be healthy,
Yeah, of course.
and to be back on court. So if I have to work 10 hours a day, and you tell me you do this exercise for 10 hours, I will do it.
Yeah, yeah.
And not
Brilliant.
move from there.
Brilliant, I love
Because this is the only choice. And
Yeah.
if this is the only way of getting back, I'll do it.
it. Yeah.
And I will follow the instruction to do it. I've been, you know, I worked all my life so hard. You know, you don't become number one or world champion, or like you don't stay in the top 5 or for 15 years just for you know, staying seated on the sofa. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't happen like this.
Yeah.
If I became, if I lasted that long on the tour in that kind of ranking,
Yeah.
there's a reason behind it. Is because I was not, I was training my ass off.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know, I wake up really early. I do my stretch. I go to the club. I do all my work. You know, I'm home just for food and
Yeah.
see my kid a little bit, and my wife. But most of the time you're training, and even your head is thinking
all the
non-stop.
time. Squash. Yeah.
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 So of course you need the balance. You know, it's good to have a balance with family, and that things go right too. It helps you. But you know, you think non-stop usually.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You sleep and you think too.
Yeah, of course. So when you're, I mean, it's the obvious question. Of course, you believe you can come back, otherwise you wouldn't do it. And like you say, you wouldn't be happy with being number 12 in the world, number 11, number 10 in the world. You would be wanting to get to the latter stages of events, surely.
Of course, yeah.
So, and that's
Well,
what,
I'm not born to be 12 in the world anyway.
No. Well, you
So
were when you were about 15.
Yeah. No, but I mean, yeah, I have like quite high goals. You know, I always had high goals. You know, since I'm a kid. I always wanted to be a world champion, a world number 1. You know, but of course, you know, to get back to that stage, I need to put goals, like low goals at the beginning, and then another goal. I can't now say, oh, I'm going to be number 1. You know, because I'm in a position where, with the injury I have, my first goal is to play.
Yeah.
And then my second goal is to compete.
Yeah.
And then my third goal is to really, you know,
Stop chopping
kick
people.
ass.
I can't wait. I can't wait. I mean,
But if I come back,
Yeah. No, absolutely. The chin's going to come out. You're going to do the gyrating against the front wall. I mean, the tongue's going to come out. I mean, we miss all this. You know, you're such an asset to the tour. I mean, you're one of the greatest players that's ever been on the PSA World Tour. For what it's worth, my father's a massive fan, as you know him personally. He was a huge fan of you, and he thinks it's fantastic, and he's really excited, like we all are, about seeing you come back. You know, it's very emotional, and it's going to be great. So, you know, I really want to do it for myself, because I never wanted to quit now. Yeah. And I wasn't ready to quit. I want to do for people who helped me and who supported me from day one, and people, new people who still supporting me now, and and also because I miss it. You know, I miss being on the tour. I miss to see all these people who come and support you. I miss hitting the balls. You know, and beating people really savagely through love, which obviously you've done better than most people.
I'll miss all.
Just be honest.
I miss all. I'm a competitive guy.
Yes, you are.
So I miss competition. When you don't compete for 1 year, you know,
well,
all you want is to go back in there.
I feel sorry for the rest of the players on the PSA World Tour when Le General turns up, but I can't wait for it.
I'll do all my best to come back, and it's my promise.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Greg. Really appreciate, and I promise you I'll buy you a coffee next year.
Thank you. Thanks, Alex Goff, for the coffee.